So you tell me how you don't know anything about this.
In the farthest reaches of space, where no one has gone before, Weyland-Yutani sent a group of explorers on a mission to collect samples of the most dangerous cosmic creatures man has ever seen, and 5 were taken for study. From a tentacle creature with an eyeball capable of stealing your body, to monsters that bleed acid. I'm a Gloomy Geek, and today I'll be recapping this week's Dark Alien Earth theories, with a little bonus. But before I begin this week's obligatory compilation, I want to invite you to participate in a new exclusive giveaway of one of the first official Alien Earth merch, the iconic Goat Funko Pop. For your chance to win this adorable nightmare, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments who your favorite alien character is and why. The winner will be announced on October 9th. Now back to the video. Number 5. Does the eyeball have control over the other alien creatures? The bug's diet makes it uniquely disturbing, but it also points to something important. In the same episode, one of the Lost Boys, Toodles, went to feed the alien creatures alone. Not so smart on his part, since because he would become dinner for the alien fly. Behind Toodles' tragic fate lies a big revelation. The flies pose a great threat to machines, including hybrids. They are creatures that feed on artificial material.
The boys on the island vary, of course, in numbers.
This is a helpful tool for another smarter creature to use. The T. Ocellus knew that Toodles was the fly's favorite food because it remembered. We have to stop for a second and think about what it implies that the T. Ocellus scared Toodles to trap him with the flies. For days, the eyeball has been observing, remembering, and analyzing, plotting its escape. What is most disturbing is that it remembers what the flies like to eat and seizes an opportunity. The eyeball knew that by hitting the glass, it would startle Toodles. It wanted to trap him with the fly because it knew what would happen. It was deliberate. The eyeball not only understands how to manipulate its environment, but also distinguishes between a synthetic being and an organic one, and the fly loves its synthetic dinner. This suggests that the T. Ocellus is much more intelligent than its description says. The eyeball poses a much greater danger than anyone expected. Here's a crazy thought. What if these flies and the other alien creatures are under the control of the T. Ocellus? We know how the ship transporting or smuggling these dangerous creatures crashed in Prodigy City and what happened to its crew, but we are yet to know how Morrow and the others found and captured the 5 creatures. Herein lies perhaps the secret of this show. Think about it for a second. Containing a single xenomorph would already be a nearly impossible feat. Now imagine finding and transporting 4 other dangerous creatures, each with unique and terrible abilities, and keeping them under containment for decades while traveling back to Earth. No human was supposed to be capable of this before Alien, yet these creatures were somehow caught by humans. So what if the Weyland-Yutani employees were not the ones who were taking them to Earth? What if the T. Ocellus was the one transporting them? Until now, the eyeball is still perceived as a simple alien creature. A dangerous one, sure, but merely another specimen to experiment on. However, since the first episode, it was hinted that its intelligence is on par with that of humans.
This creature is highly intelligent.
And the creature is frequently proving that. So what if the T. Ocellus wasn't part of the ship's cargo, but a transporter? Perhaps it gathered the other creatures, so that they all would get captured by Weyland-Yutani. In previous videos, I've theorized that the eyeball could come from the same planet as the Xenomorphs, or perhaps belong to a race of aliens who experimented on the Xenos. Whatever their origins, we know that the Xenos don't like the eyeballs very much. That was made clear in episode 5. So did the T. Ocellus plan for it and the other aliens to get caught by the humans? The clues are there. We saw the eyeball distracting Chibouzo so that the bloater or tick creature could escape. Then it called the Xenomorph, and later made Tudos, the fly's dinner. Everything points to the fact that the eyeball thinks, memorizes, and rationalizes. It plans, manipulates, and uses the other creatures to its advantage. It knows the other creatures' strengths and maybe even their weaknesses. Everything the eyeball does has to be part of a larger plan of its design. If there is an alpha among the 5, then it can be none other than the eyeball. Everything is made clear now. A trapped, intelligent life form capable of manipulating others would want the same as any other trapped creature: freedom. T. Ocellus will use its fellow monsters to return home, just as it used the metal-eating fly.
Fascinating.
If the T. Ocellus turns out to be smarter than it was originally thought, and manages to get its slimy tentacles on someone important and powerful like Boy Cavalier, and has the other 4 alien species under its control, the world will face its most dangerous enemy ever. So what do you think? Is the T. Ocellus that smart that it planned to make Tudos the fly's next meal? Does the eyeball have control over the other alien creatures? Number 4. Did you know about Xenomorph Prime? Will we see it in Alien Earth? The home planet of the Xenomorphs is as mysterious as the creatures themselves. Many fans believe that the creatures have no home, as some of the films showed that the Xenomorphs were the result of experiments. So what is the truth then? Are the Xenomorphs artificial creatures? Or do they have a home? Well, according to legend, there is a mountainous planet entirely inhabited by Xenomorphs and ruled by one or many queens. It is said to be a world that the Predators used as one of their hunting grounds, and it is the most dangerous planet in the entire universe. One clue that shows that this planet exists is some concept art from the 2007 film Alien vs. Predator. Although it never made it on screen, the behind-the-scenes feature referred to this location as Xenomorph Prime, and the art is a planet covered in ovomorphs, xenomorph eggs. In 2014, NECA Toys released a line of Predator figures, with one with a biography that mentioned how the Predator was stranded on Xenomorph Prime, and I quote, "Stranded for years on Xenomorph Prime, his tribe was killed in a reckless Xeno hunt gone awry, left with nothing but a broken ship and limited supplies. This Predator has proven to be very resourceful, creating new weapons from the wreckage of his vessel. He lives in isolation, an outcast amongst the enemy, often becoming the hunted himself. He once longed for rescue from this desolate planet, but has since realized that it is the greatest challenge a true warrior could ever hope for." End quote. The official Predator Facebook account posted a star map back in 2018 that shows several planets used by the Yautja for hunting, including Xenomorph Prime. The image also shows other planets, such as LV-223 from Prometheus, Yautja Prime, the home planet of the Predators, and Xenomorph Prime, among others. Since this picture was published by the official Predator account before the premiere of the film Prey, many began to speculate that it was evidence that everything that happens in Alien and Predator is part of a shared universe, possibly validating other stories as canon, such as the comics. The Aliens Outbreak comic, published in 1988 and perceived as an alternate story to James Cameron's Aliens, shows the Xenomorphs' home planet and an invasion of Earth. In Aliens Genocide, Xenomorph Prime was attacked with nuclear weapons by humans in an attempt to destroy the alien queen. If there's one constant in the alien and alien-adjacent properties, is that the Predators, humans, and other species have visited Xenomorph's home planet to capture specimens for study and use. And each time, it ended in disaster for the curious party that dared to use them. Could this be the fate of Alien Earth? One of the biggest questions from the first season of Alien Earth is, where did the Maginot find the 5 alien species? Some fans say that the creatures were salvaged from another derelict ship, gift-wrapped and waiting for Weyland-Yutani's men to find them. But what if they actually went to Xenomorph Prime? If Alien Earth were to share a similar story with the comics, we could see how Weyland-Yutani's men traveled to Xenomorph Prime to catch these creatures. It would make sense that the corporation knew where to find them, and would explain why in the first Alien film they prioritized the creature's transportation over the Nostromo's crew's survival. But is this evidence that Weyland-Yutani has already traveled to this planet? If those 5 creatures come from Xenomorph Prime, this could open up the possibility of a story focusing on when the creatures were captured, or when the corporation sent its people to the planet, showing the dangerous lengths they're willing to go to catch aliens. So will we ever see Xenomorph Prime? Wendy is communicating and bonding with the Xenomorphs, and as we've mentioned in previous videos, these creatures need a queen. In the comics, the Red Queen's habitat was destroyed with nuclear weapons because she could control the Xenomorph horde remotely, turning them into an unstoppable army. What if something similar were to happen in Alien Earth? A queen from the Xenomorph planet could be communicating with Wendy through the captured Xenomorph. If so, then the only way to stop a potential invasion of Earth is to take the fight to the alien homeworld to attack the source of control, travel to Xenomorph Prime, and destroy its queen, just like in the comics. Furthermore, if Weyland-Yutani is continuously taking trips to Xenomorph Prime, it will only be a matter of time before one of those excursions encounters the Yautja. The film Predator Badlands has a predator fighting alongside a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, which proves that Weyland-Yutani continues to have connections with both the Xenos and the Yautja. If we don't see Xenomorph Prime in Alien Earth, we might still have a chance to see it in the upcoming Predator movie. When the Xenos infest a planet, like locusts, nothing is left standing. What we know as Xenomorph Prime could have been another victim of the Xenomorph plague, but the Xenomorphs aren't weapons. They are creatures that were born or created, removed and used as weapons by other species, thus becoming the great filter of the universe. So what do you think? Did you know about Xenomorph Prime? Will we see it in Alien Earth? Number 3. Morrow's evil plan. To understand why Weyland-Yutani would use a world-ending type of weapon, it is important to comprehend the threat level that a xenomorph infestation poses to the world. If one queen were to establish a hive, the expansion process would be rapid. A single queen can lay hundreds of eggs in a short time. Each egg has one facehugger ready to implant an embryo into a nearby host. Within hours, those embryos transform into chest bursters, which in turn reach maturity in just a matter of hours. This means that in less than a week, there is an army of Xenos roaming around looking for more hosts. Now imagine an entire city turned into an incubation ground. First, small isolated sectors will fall, then residential areas, then cities, and soon military defenses will be overwhelmed. In a matter of weeks, the entire planet would be in danger of all-out infestation. What makes the aliens dangerous is their fast and aggressive and invasive reproductive cycle. No other known species in this universe can replicate with such brutal efficiency. Therefore, once a xenomorph is released on the planet, the threat level is at max. There is no debating. Action must be taken immediately, or the world is lost. Xenomorphs are not indestructible, but for every one that is killed, dozens more are born. It's because of the level of danger that these creatures pose that humans and other advanced alien species have used weapons of mass destruction against them. In Aliens, a massive explosion destroyed the alien hive. In Alien vs. Predator Requiem, the government dropped a nuclear bomb on the town that was being overrun by Xenos. In the books Aliens Earth Hive and Aliens The Female War, nuclear bombs were used to destroy the xenomorphs on Earth. In the comics that we've mentioned in other videos, such as Aliens Genocide, the xenomorph's Red Queen was destroyed with nuclear warheads. So when it comes to stopping a xenomorph horde for all sentient species, the contingency plan is the same. A big explosion is the only way to stop the invasion. Sadly, it's sometimes better to sacrifice a city than it is to risk the entire world. Now you understand that the moment the Maginot crash landed on Prodigy City, the city became a target of a nuclear attack.
You have something that belongs to me.
To be fair, it fell from the sky and broke one of my buildings.
Boy Cavalier, the boy genius and trillionaire, proved that one person with good ideas can bring a megacorporation that has bullied the world since its inception to its knees. But Weyland-Yutani is no pushover, and they are not happy that the young trillionaire has stolen their property. It's only a matter of time before Prodigy pays a hefty price for taking what isn't theirs.
I told her I'd bring the specimens home, and I will. And then I'll kill the one called Cavalier.
So will Morrow destroy Prodigy City? Morrow will be Weyland-Yutani's extension in the fight against Prodigy, their hidden weapon tasked with doing the corporation's dirty work that they don't want the world to know about. Morrow lost his humanity a long time ago. He's more machine than man, without hopes or dreams, without ambitions or goals of his own. He is a drone for the company. Everything that once made him human is gone. The man was replaced with an obedient mechanical attack dog. That's what makes him the perfect soldier for the task. He won't stop. He won't negotiate. He will show no remorse.
Remember before when we talked and you said all that stuff about how you'd do anything you had to protect your parents? This is that.
Now, the biggest sign that Prodigy is facing imminent nuclear annihilation, it's that it and its founder, Boy Cavalier, are absent from the entire Alien franchise. A xenomorph infestation, followed by a nuclear explosion, could be the cleanest way to wipe Prodigy from the history books, like it never existed.
I'm glad you came in.
But is Weyland-Yutani willing to destroy an entire city filled with innocent people just to cover up their tracks? Going back to Alien vs. Predator 2, the nuclear attack was covered up as an accident at the nuclear power plant. Perhaps this accident happens again in Alien Earth, a tragic accident that destroys Prodigy City. An official but fabricated report will be accepted globally because Weyland-Yutani will say it's real. Whatever remains of Prodigy amidst the ash and radiation will be handed over to Weyland-Yutani. To the victor goes the spoils. Prodigy City, Neverland Island, and the Lost Boys would be erased along with all the collateral damage. So yes, Weyland-Yutani is willing and able to sacrifice lives and entire cities to maintain its monopoly on alien biotechnology. Once the meddling trillionaire kid is out of the way permanently, Weyland-Yutani will send a new group of astronauts to find new alien samples. Number 2. Was the xenomorph afraid of the eyeball? The xenomorphs are labeled as the perfect weapons, designed to exterminate civilizations. So for one to show any fear or reservation when facing an enemy, that goes against its nature. From the time they are inside the egg until they become an adult xeno, these monsters of the galaxy are designed to wipe out everything in their path. However, not even the perfect cosmic weapon can escape fear. In the classic Alien films, it was revealed that the xenomorphs fear the element of fire. Although these creatures are quite intelligent, their main goal is to reproduce, finding and capturing hosts for the eggs, and the eggs are very susceptible to fire. All intelligent creatures are born with what is called instinctive fears. The fear of the dark, of insects, or of heights are some of the phobias that we humans inherited from our ancestors. Similarly, the xenomorphs have instinctively inherited a fear of fire because fire was used to destroy them. But this isn't the only fear that they have displayed. In the comic book Alien Genocide, the Red Queen, leader of the xenomorphs, controlled numerous drones. But when the Marines destroyed the Red Queen with a big bomb, the swarm's reaction was not to fight, but to flee. In nature, eusocial insects such as bees, ants, or termites depend on their queen, not only for reproduction, but as a nexus that connects all the drones. The queen releases pheromones that keep the colony organized. When those signals disappear, the workers enter a state of disorientation, a lack of order that can translate into chaos or dispersal. This is what happened to the xenomorph drones in the comic after their queen was exterminated. Everything implies that their apparent fear is not emotional in the human sense, but an instinctive response to the disruption of their biological control network. The queen isn't just the one who lays eggs. She is the nucleus that emits the chemical or bioelectric frequencies that hold the swarm together. Upon losing her, the xenomorphs experience something equivalent to a collapse of the central nervous system, confusion, loss of coordination, and what we interpret as fear. Similarly, fire functions as another primordial enemy. It's not that the xenomorph interprets fear like we humans do, but rather that their biology has encoded the element as a lethal threat through generations of exposure. Under this logic, we can understand why the xenomorph was a bit shaken at the sight of the eyeball. Just as a human might instinctively scream at the sight of a bug without understanding that their DNA holds the memory of an ancestor who was afraid of a similar creature, the xenomorphs fear the Ocellus because they faced them before. This isn't a new fear, it's an inherited reaction. In my previous video, we theorized that the Ocellus is the xenomorph's oldest natural predator, or an enemy species that has been at war with the xenos for a very long time. But are the xenomorphs afraid of Ocellus? Is that what we saw? Fear? In the same way that Wendy managed to tap into the xenomorph's communication frequency, the eyeball seems to do the same. It may be interfering with the same communication frequencies the aliens use among each other, but instead of giving them orders or instructions, what it instills is fear. It's manipulating those biological signals meant to connect the colony. Such an ability yields a disturbing result. If the eyeball is capable of speaking the same language as the xenomorphs, then it can intimidate them, disorient them, or even turn them against themselves. Now then, are the eyeballs and the Xenos from the same planet? Could we see Xenomorph Prime in alien Earth? If you don't know what Xenomorph Prime is, it is one of the biggest mysteries in Alien, the apparent home planet of the Xenos. However, the origin of the aliens is still inconsistent. One story says that it was David who created them. Others say it was the Predators. But in certain comics, Xenomorph Prime is mentioned as their planet of origin. None of the films nor Alien Earth has mentioned the Xenos' home planet, but the Maginot had to have gotten the eggs from somewhere. Did they get them from Xenomorph Prime? Not only that, but the eggs weren't the only creatures the Maginot was bringing back to Earth. It was transporting 4 other species, including the eyeball, and they all could have been from the same planet as the Xenos. A planet where many species have evolved with the xenomorphs, forming an ecosystem so hostile that each creature developed natural defense mechanisms to survive. That would explain how the eyeball can replicate the Xenos' language. The xenomorph's origin is still a mystery, but the eyeball could finally be the key to discovering where the alien actually comes from. And number 1, why do xenomorphs grow so fast? As Wendy spent her time bonding with the growing baby xenomorph, a question came to us. Why do these creatures mature so quickly? If xenomorphs don't typically have much access to food or a natural habitat, how do they manage to develop so fast and reach such a large size? Could there be something secret behind their rapid growth process? I'm a Gloomy Geek, and in this video I'll be talking about the real reason why xenomorphs grow up so fast. To understand how this alien creature grows so much in such a short time, we must first discuss its reproductive cycle, a terrifying process that has inspired nightmares. The first stage is the egg, or ovomorph, which is a capsule that protects the embryo carrier. Its function is to keep the facehugger alive and shielded. Once the presence of a nearby host is detected by the egg, it hatches and releases the parasite. The next phase is the most disturbing, the facehugger. The parasite is born for a single purpose: to chase its victim and turn them into a xenomorph incubator. Although the facehugger is a tough and speedy SOB, it still can be killed with bullets or fire. After fulfilling its purpose, the facehugger dies, proceeding to the next phase, the chest burster. Within a few hours, the embryo grows inside the host's body until it tears open its chest and emerges. This tiny radioactive shrimp reaches maturity in a matter of hours to a few days. This is why many underestimate the danger of the xenomorphs. They are initially perceived as reptilian-like creatures, but they are soon hit with the reality that these aliens grow fast and large. But where in this final cycle does this rapid growth of xenomorphs occur? To understand this, we must remember what David once said: xenomorphs are the perfect organism, and their perfection lies not only in their lethality, but in their extreme metabolism. What do I mean? Well, in the case of humans, much of what we eat is lost in the digestive process. Humans don't perfectly process the energy from what we eat. Our bodies transform food into energy, but only a fraction is used. It's estimated that on average, only a small percentage of what we eat is converted into body mass or energy. The rest is dissipated as heat, spent maintaining basic functions like breathing and blood circulation, and the rest becomes waste. David proved how imperfect, inefficient, slow, and full of waste the human body is. The xenomorph is the opposite. Its metabolism is designed to waste nothing. Every molecule of energy, every nutrient, every drop of liquid it consumes is absorbed and integrated almost 100% into its body. This means there is no waste, no loss of energy. Everything is converted into mass, strength, and growth. Thanks to this absolute efficiency, a xenomorph can reach its adult form quickly.
You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? Perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility. I admire its purity, survival, unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality.
Imagine if every bite you consume, every drop of water you drink, and every particle of energy we absorbed were utilized 100% without generating waste. The xeno's growth would not only depend on long periods of feeding or resting, unlike us humans, but on the metabolic hyperabsorption that allows the aliens to develop fast. You'd be surprised to know that there are animals in the real world with similar metabolic processes. One of them is the blue whale. It is believed that this mammal can reach adulthood almost immediately because it can gain up to 90 kilos of weight per day by incredibly transforming everything it eats into body mass. Another interesting example is something that many of us consume regularly: chickens. Through decades of genetic selection focused on increasing the amount of meat, a chick that previously took months to grow now reaches market-ready adult size in just 6 weeks. This would have been impossible a century ago. Global demand for chicken continues to rise unabated, and with it, the pressure to further reduce the animal's development cycle. It's not unreasonable to imagine that in the future, the industry will try to push this to extreme limits, to a point of reaching a chicken that completes its growth cycle in just 1 day, and it's ready for consumption. It's supply and demand. The purpose of the xeno's fast development is different. Their accelerated growth is not for the need of food, but rather of weapons. The speed in which they reach their adult form determines their efficiency. The faster they develop, the faster they can infect an entire planet, the perfect invasive species. No other organism has this level of efficiency. Being able to feed itself from before birth and converting everything it consumes into its body at a supernatural speed is the perfect weapon to end worlds. But what do xenomorphs eat? I hear you ask. Well, the most obvious answer is that they do prefer the meat of other organic creatures. Movies, series, and comics show how aliens consume various terrestrial and extraterrestrial organisms. But also the xenomorph's acid blood and tough skin indicate that they can also eat hard materials like metal, to absorb and integrate the materials into their bodies.
Perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
This makes the Xenos somewhat biomechanical, if you will, consuming and integrating metals, minerals, and other types of elements into their perfect body. So the speed in which a xenomorph develops would not depend so much on a ship's limited resources, as it could eat almost everything around it, from plastics to metals, synthetics, and living organisms, anything it can snap its teeth into. The xenomorph is a true omnivore. What the Xenos consume increases their size, but also changes how their body develops. If it eats metal, its skin gets tougher, for example. The more we learn about the Xenomorph's biology, the more we understand David's fascination with them. He was right all along. The Xenomorphs are the perfect organism.
No one understands the lonely perfection of my dreams. I've found perfection here. I've created it. Perfect organism.
So what do you think? Did you know why xenomorphs grew so fast? Do they eat metal and other stuff to grow big and strong and scary? I'm a Gloomy Geek, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien from the movie Alien. This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries.